Do, 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 do. Come on and do a conga. Do, 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 do. Or don't. Hello! James, when was the last time you did a conga?
Oh, fuck. Well, I think it was in a nightclub called Aberystwyth. It was a nightclub on a pier, and it was called Peer Pressure.
Yeah? Was the air really tight?
I went there. Peer 30,000 atmospheres. I went there once when I was on not depressants. What's the ones that
Anxiety?
No. It's not a mental health.
Disestablishmentarianism?
I was on anti-disestablishmentarianism. No, the thing where you can't drink. And
anti-cool boy syndrome?
I was on anti-cool boy syndrome. Fuck, what's it called? It's like one of the fundamentals of like modern medicine.
Penicillin? Antibiotics?
Antibiotics. Yes, there we are. Antibiotics, ladies and gentlemen. That gives David 100 points.
James, are you anti or are you probiotics?
I am Team Chaotix. Little reference there, of course, for everyone listening who remembers the game Sonic Heroes. Yeah, so I was on antibiotics, and I went to this nightclub, and it's the only time I've been there sober. And it's on a pier, and I could feel the ground giving way. It's bad. That's also where they recorded something for BBC Wales in there, like lots of comedy in the pier in Aberystwyth. It had like Gary Pritchard McLean and Priya Hall, and every now and then.
Yeah, I know the show. Yeah.
So they'll post it.
Sarah Breeze did it as well. Sarah did my Edinburgh posters, and she was suddenly on TV on BBC, and I'm just like, woohoo!
Yeah, they'll post a clip from there every now and then. It'll be like, oh, I got kicked out of there for falling asleep.
Aren't you the coolest person?
I know, and a keeper. When's the last time you did a conga?
I know the most notable time I did a conga. I don't know if it's the last time. The most notable time I did a conga was in Wembley Stadium. We went to go see this band, you may have heard of them, called Metallica. And their support acts were Mastodon, who weren't even as big as they could have been at that point, because they were like opening, and they're like the kind of band that like, who are these? They're now like been on like Jules Holland and Letterman and everything. Machine Head, and then the Swedish band HIM, H-I-M, Bam Margera's favorite band. And like Mastodon, clearly very influenced by Metallica, very similar sort of ish sound to Metallica, fits in well. Machine Head was supporting Metallica on tour like around the world for several years at that point. And then HIM just felt like a real like, why are they there?
Why him?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be him?
And if you take into account the fact that metalheads aren't necessarily always the most reasonable human beings, and let's caveat that with like some of the most lovely people I've ever met are metalheads, but even those lovely metalheads know very unreasonable metalheads. The general consensus was this might be rubbish, so let's have some fun. So everybody proceeded to do like the Macarena and conga lines. It was quite disrespectful to him, but I was like 18 or something. But if you look on YouTube, if you type in Wembley Stadium conga, there's there's several videos, but there's several from in the like pit. And if you're like, I wonder if I'll see David in that video, you can YouTube that and look at it now. You will see a very like virgin David Hoare just congering past the camera. So yeah, so there, and I've probably done one in a club or a wedding since then. But
I like when you were saying that sentence earlier, the way you said it's probably quite disrespectful to him. The way you said to instead of just abbreviating, like probably pretty respectful to him. That would imply that it was a person, but you went to him, making sure the gap was there, meaning that we knew that him was a noun rather than a pronoun.
Yes,
I like
it's
that.
an amateur noun. And with that, let's begin.
Is this enough? With James O'Donoghue and David Hoare.
Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Is This Enough? The really brilliant game show that is brilliant and excellent. When I was 29, I spent the whole year worrying about turning 30 and I had existential crisis and I thought it was all going to go wrong. And then I turned 30 and my father died, I got unemployed, and then there was a global pandemic, validating all the worry.
We
made up 3 rounds for each other. Say again?
I'm 29 years old right now.
Best of luck. We've made up 3 rounds, and neither of us know what the other has prepared. Along the way, we'll have some prizes and some forfeits and some fun. With me, as ever, is James O'Donoghue. James is a comedian, actor, painter, and speedboat salesman.
Yes, David. I tell you what, if you want a speedboat that goes fucking fast, I'll do it to you. I'll give it to you for nothing but a fucking boat. It's boat for boat.
One of the most regular film quotes that goes through my head is, "Speedboat salesman, there are no lakes in this area." And if you can tell me what that is, I'll give you 1,000 points right now.
Fuck. Oh. No, I don't know.
There are people at home who know. "Speedboat salesman, there are no lakes in this area." That is from the 1996 Danny DeVito directed Matilda.
Of course.
Which is a fucking incredible film. Last time I won and I received a feeling of satisfaction, like I'd had the right amount of fibre. James, last time you lost and you received a dip in the Thames. How was that?
Not good. Not good. Not good. Fergal Sharkey rode past and he was like, "It's bad in there."
Ever swam in a river you didn't mean to swim in? We nearly got there. We hope you play along at home. Let us know your scores and please encourage other people to play along with you. James, would you like to know this week's prizes and forfeits?
I demand to know this week's prizes and forfeits. Thank you very much.
James, if you win this week's episode 29 of Is This Enough, you will receive a bottle of hot sauce.
Okay.
James, if you lose this week's episode 29, you will receive a cold bottle of Thames water.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
James, are you ready to find out if this is enough?
There's a lot riding on this because my gut can't deal with any more of the fetid rivers.
It's over to me for round 1.
Round 1.
James, round 1 is called General Knowledge. Are these real wives of Henry VIII?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
This is for 55 points a question. Henry was 55 when he died. 6 wives before 55, which is one of those challenges that the Diary of the CEO type people do. Henry VIII was the king of England from 1509 to 1547. Henry was born in 1491, which makes him a 90s kid who watches Nickelodeon and only recognizes 151 Pokemon. He was taught a lot, taught about a lot in primary schools in the UK, which is the easiest way to explain divorce to 8-year-olds. And beheadings.
Do you think that in Henry's time he was taught about 20th century primary schools as much as 20th century primary schools taught about him? And in the future, they shall have white boards. More.
Just somebody from the BBC being like, for balance. Henry had 6 wives in an absolutely stunning practice of scraping the barrel. This fact has been turned into a West End musical called Six. Now, I haven't seen 6 because I haven't seen 1 through 5 yet.
Oh, fucking hell.
James, are these real wives of Henry VIII? Question 1, Jane Seymour.
Yes, she is, but after a while, Jane C. less.
That's 55 points a question for you for getting it right. Question number 2, I've failed. I'm a bit tired. I did a mums and babies gig this morning. We'll get onto it. You also malfunctioned because question number 2, Jane C. less.
No.
Correct. That is 55 points for you there. Question number 3, Catherine Parr.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to hang on to the pun.
Question number 4, Catherine Bogey.
Okay, no, I was going to go for Catherine par excellence. No, Catherine Bogey is not. She was, of course, married to King William IV.
She was married to both kings, Dick and Dom. Question number 5, Catherine Albatross.
No.
And question number 6, was Henry VIII married to Pamela Anderson?
Oh, for a brief period.
I'm sorry, James. No. None of Pamela Anderson's 6 marriages were to Henry VIII. But there is an easier way to remember Pamela Anderson's marriages. It's divorced, 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 beheaded, beheaded, annulment. So, James, at the end of that round, you have an absolutely stunning 275 points. It's over to you for round 2.
Round 2.
Round 2 is called David Ickinson. How toxic are these gardeners? No, round 2 is actually called Video Games TV Shows. Think of pun later. Fuck. That's a genuine mistake. That's a genuine mistake.
Was that really funny? You didn't mean to do that.
Oh, I didn't.
Last night, a comedian showed me the joke they'd written on their phone, but they dictated it into their phone. And so when they'd said full stop, it just wrote out full stop. And they were like, I think this is pretty good, right? And I read it and I was like, this makes no sense. And then like, that full stop is supposed to be a full stop. And I was like, oh, that's good.
I've told you this before. I did a gig and one of the acts turned around.
Is that the end of the story? I've told you this before. I did a gig.
Money,
please!
I did a gig, and before I was going to go on, one of the acts turned around to me and on their phone had a picture of a gnome, and they said, "Is there anything in this? Is there anything in this?" I was bamboozled. Anyway, round 2.
It should be noted that that person is a big fan of this podcast.
Are they?
And will listen to this.
Well, hello to you listening. I think there's plenty in it. I think there's plenty in it. Absolutely plenty in that. Round 2 is called Video Games TV Shows. Think of pun later. With the success of The Last of Us and now Fallout, it looks like Hollywood has finally found a successful way to go about the video game to movie adaptation by simply not doing it. Instead, TV shows are the way to go. So, are these real adaptations of video games currently in the works for TV, or are they a bunch of nonsense I've made up? Who's to say, David? Who's to say? You. That's who's to say, you beauty.
Thank you. There's a lot riding on this because I'm genuinely intrigued, and also knowing you, there's going to be a load of bullshit involved, and I'm going to get confused and have to go away and Google this all later.
Well, David, I would never trick anyone. That would never be me. Have you ever? What's your favorite video game movie? Noting that they're all bad.
I mean, off the top of my head, definitely the 1990s Super Mario film with Bob Hoskins. Is there any other like? I mean,
Which gave to the law that both Mario and Luigi's last names are Mario.
yeah, and yeah, that's very odd. But there's a lot of fun to be had in that film. Is there any other good ones? The most recent Super Mario thing was just basically like a fan film, but made by Nintendo. It was very odd. Have you seen it?
No, it looked pretty soulless.
It's basically like probably the most 5 out of 10 I've ever seen ever. Where like it wasn't good, it wasn't bad. It felt corporate, but it included all the things I like, and I was just like,
that's the last few Star Wars films, the last few Star Wars things, other than Andor. It's like, you like this, right? Have all of it, have everything you want, and everyone was like, no.
Is that spelt like this? Hang on, just for the view, like that, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it is. That
And
was,
sure.
as always, seamless podcasting. We got him, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. There is a thing of Hollywood is now serving up exactly what everyone wants, and it's bad. No, don't give us what we want. Give us what we should have.
Yes.
Give us a big plate of fucking vegetables. Give us some vitamins. For fuck's sake, no more pud. No more, too much pud. We are all Zachary Ruane vomiting custard down our fronts. But some of us are looking at the Broden Kellys. So, David, are these real video game adaptations? Number one.
Yeah.
By the way, all of this is worth, every correct answer is worth 1,958 points. Of course, 1958, the year that Tennis for Two was finished. The first video, some would argue. David, some would argue. Others, however, would argue about other things, maybe slightly more important. David, number one, Tomb Raider. Is there a Tomb Raider TV show currently in the works in old Hollywood Towers?
I mean, I haven't heard about it, but if there isn't, I would be like more surprised than if there has to be a Tomb Raider, because they've already done films of it, so it's a known IP in many different parts, basically. So if there's not, then I think just somebody will hear this podcast and be like, Darren, what are you doing?
Darren, my office now! I've been listening to these two freaks.
I don't think, do Idols still own Tomb Raider? I think Square own Tomb Raider.
Idols still own Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
She's walking around with pointy tits.
You locked the butler in the freezer. You locked the butler in the freezer.
It's the best beating. I went to see Idols when it was like 2020, I think late 2021, maybe early 2022. No, it would have been late 2021. And it was like, we were in between lockdowns. And I had this thing of like, oh, I'm suddenly surrounded by loads of different people. Jesus fucking Christ. And it was like, they were great. Really good. It was on Clifton Downs. There was a Ferris wheel. You got lovely views over the gorge. And I made an impression of man in 2021 man from 2020 seeing any event in 2021, which was very good topical comedy for then. Could I use that topical comedy? Could I fuck? Because there were no gigs.
Whoever's inventing time machines, I think there should be a rule for time machines. You're only allowed to use it to go back in time and tell topical jokes you thought of too late.
Yes, I approve this message.
Yeah.
David, of course, Tomb Raider is in the works.
I was going to say Square. I think Square Enix own Tomb Raider now, and they love making films and money and stuff. They basically stopped being a revolutionary gaming platform.
Oh yeah,
they started being a money machine.
they released a Avengers game that annoyed everyone because it wasn't a game; it was a live service thing, and everyone was like, "This sucks." Yeah, but yeah, have you seen the any of the old films?
Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
No.
I tell you, the first film. I was watching it the other day with. We needed something bad to watch.
Mm.
We're gonna have to do an edit there.
Fine.
First of its kind.
It's fine.
Yeah, I was watching it with
Your partner?
with my partner where we live at our address, and got the surprise of our fucking lives when who should turn up but little Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
At our front door. What's he doing here?
It's really odd when you do that. I went back and watched what's Trashbat.com. Nathan Barley.
Yes, and it's got fucking
Benedict Cumberbatch is in it.
Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. Fucking what? Paddington, he's in it. Ben Whishaw. Ben Whishaw plays.
Oh right, I
Pingu.
thought it just meant he was just trying to drag the Queen off, and she's like, "Not yet." It's like early 2000s. Right, more questions, James. Come on.
More questions. More questions. Number 2, God of War. Is there a God of War TV show incoming? Inbound.
You know when I was giggling at you because so many Marvel things, and you're like, "This is too much," and you're ruining the thing I like. You're like, "Is there a God of War TV show?" And I'm like, "Oh, fucking hell, probably. If there isn't, there will be, because if they've taken games and they've made them cinematic and story driven,
yeah,
just in the games, and then the people who make TV shows are like, oh, we can make that into something, and then the companies are not going to be like, no, don't make something like it'll increase sales. It's a free advert. Because if it goes badly, then everyone can say, well, the game is better. And if it goes well, then people are like, this is just the greatest IP in the world. Like, it's a win-win for...
It is a little thing of just allow a thing to be a thing. A movie doesn't need to be the end goal.
Basically, a lot of really pretentious people were like to say that the new God of War games on the PS4 are better than the old God of War games. But the new God of War games are basically a story, and then you occasionally do some game. Whereas the old ones are, like, flawed. Pretty, like, I've never seen an 18 sticker bigger on anything.
Yeah.
It's hilariously big. But they were fun, silly little games, and they were games, and you got to play the games. Didn't realize I was getting on my high horse today. Give me another question. Oh, sorry. Yes. Did you answer?
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Correct. Well done. Number 3, Walking Dead, the mobile game. Are they doing a TV adaptation?
Oh, no,
of
that's
Walking
Inception.
Dead, the mobile game.
Yes?
No, David, of course they're not. No, they just have The Walking Dead, the comic book they adapted, which in a way was adapted from the general idea of zombies, which in a way was adapted from the fear of plague. David, number 4, Alan Wake.
Oh, the most, allegedly, I've never played it, but allegedly the most Twin Peaks game. I would like to see an Alan Wake TV show because I can't be bothered to play the game. So let's go with yes. But
Yes, David, correct. Of course, there is an Alan Wake TV show in the works. Although I thought they already did that, and it was called Twin Peaks. I'm very smart. And finally, David, the biggest video game of all, Twitter. Did I mention I am very smart?
Yes, although it's rebranded as X, and I think they've already made a couple of episodes on it because I Googled it. They've got 3 out, right? I've Googled it the other day. Spent 5 minutes on there and then had to tidy up.
Yes, they adapted it as this big bottle of poison that I have here.
And the 4th one, beer.
Ooh. David, it's correct. Yes, they are making a Twitter, the TV show, and it's called The News. And the Nobel Podcasting Prize in Excellence goes to James O'Donoghue. You may prize this now out of Ira Glass's cold, dead hands. So, David, With all of that done, you currently have 7,932 points. With all to play for, it's over to you.
Round 3.
James, round 3 is called I'm putting the points in. Fill for a bit. Drum fill. Do a little drum fill for
Why
me.
won't you fuck my wife?
That's the theme tune from the sitcom My Family there, everyone.
Oh, yeah. I was hoping you might do a drum fill that just goes Mitchell, Mitchell, Mitchell. So, James, question number 1 of round 3 is called How are you, James?
Well, David, I'm very good. Sold. I'm good. Yeah.
You've been to another sheep auction.
Yeah. Yes. I'm very good. I have been busy with creative stuff this week, which has been very nice. Had an audition, which we'll see. And then, although I'm thinking about it, it was a casting for an advert. It wasn't in a studio. It was in a flat somewhere, which was weird. And then the next person to get up and audition was in the corner of the room. That was weird. Anyway, I'm very good. I've been pretty blessed as well for gigs. I've got an impromptu gig I didn't know that I was having this very evening. I've been asked to MC a lovely night that I love doing. And then on Sunday, I'm doing the Sunday special over at Up the Creek in Greenwich. By the time you listen to this at home, this will be far, far too late. And the lineup for it is fucking insane. It's fucking insane. I have never been.
Sorry.
I've never been this much least qualified on a bill before.
I must have told you many times about when I got booked for End of the Road Festival, and I turned to my mum and I showed her the lineup and I went, "Look, Mum, I'm the least qualified comedian on the bill." And she went, "Don't put yourself down." And I was like, "I'm not.
Nope,
I'm not." Yes. Well, you showed me the lineup. It looks good. Let's not say it just in case any of them drop out or turn out to be insane within the parameters. It's a very interesting thing because you sent it to me and I'm like, that's pretty mega, and I'm really happy for you. It's just rad to hopefully have you be like in those sorts of worlds. It's really nice to be around people who've been going a long ass time and are doing it professionally and successfully, because it kind of both like validates what you think the industry is and completely demolishes what you think the industry is. And it's like there's always people who are trying to get more out of everything and are never quite satisfied, and then there are always people who are like just charming and doing the job. But I think when you're first starting out in comedy, you just think that everybody who's in green rooms must be kind of just being there being like, we're successful, oh great, and then you actually get to it and it's like everyone's just kind of doing a job.
It's the break room of any business. It's the least glamorous thing. There was a TV show a few years back and it was like the green room of the comedy club. We're going to show you the conversations that happen here. And it was like Jimmy Carr and Catherine Ryan, and they were like, oh yeah, the thing about comedy is it's so important. And they should have done it realistically, in which it was people going, right, yeah. Oh,
they got any non-alcoholic beers? Because I can only find. I'm driving. Where'd you get those crisps from? Yeah, that is. Not to dispel the myth to anybody listening to this that isn't a comedian. But
the dressing room of any showbiz thing ever is quite a boring place, other than like opening night of a play. But even then, that's just weird and tense, and everyone's like, I tell you what's always great though. What's always great, and what you should always do after a gig is go up to an act and go, I thought you were great. Everyone else was shit. That's always good. That's never awkward and never makes the acting question feel horrible. Excellent audience etiquette.
Yeah, you were my favourite. Well, thanks, because I didn't really like the others. Well, that's my
and they're here. They're all here. They're all in earshot, and they're all crying now. Well done.
Happy.
But the other thing is, I did a really lovely special gig on Monday. I did the Alternative Comedy Memorial Society, which is always a fucking joy. If you've not been to it, go to it. It's great. It's in London, and it will be up in Edinburgh as well, if you're up in Edinburgh for the festival.
In London, it's at the Phoenix, just near Regent Street, Oxford Circus station. And in Edinburgh, they basically, I think it's the Sunday to the Thursday, they basically take over Monkey Barrel 1, I think. And they do it for like hours. So you basically can go, and they've got many different breaks. They basically do like 3 acts break, 3 acts break, and they do that for like 3 hours maybe.
Jesus Christ.
So it's great. And there are some people who can't arrive until you've already left. And then there are some people like, I basically need to go because I need to be on stage doing my show in 12 hours. That would be me. Also means you just get to like share a bill with people where you're like, who's this person and why have they got a toilet seat? And then it turns out that they're Julia Massley and they're about to be one of the most successful fucking comedians in the world. And you have to follow them just putting a toilet seat over their head and watching them proceed to moida. And you're okay. And like setting up with your being like, am I weird enough to be here? And Luke Rollinson's in front of you just like putting different limbs of baby dolls up different parts of his outfit to then produce during his show. And then you're like, all I've got is a guitar.
Yeah, you can really feel like a real mainstream idiot on that bit. I saw Julia Massley once. I was on a bill with them and had some friends in the front row. It's really fun because Julia, I think, is incredible. A real like powerhouse performer. My friends fucking hated them. Absolutely hated them. It was so funny. That made it even funnier for me because they were sat in the front row to be like supportive for me, but then Julia came on with like toilet seat on head going, "Ooh, who wants to be friends?" Yeah. And then they were like,
quote, or
"Ew, what's this?" And it's just seeing their spines going entirely firm. That's wonderful.
I always think it's really funny when somebody doesn't like something that's really successful, but they're really like adamant about it, as if like what they're doing might mean anything rather than just like, that's my opinion, when they're like, that is bad. I always think it's really funny when someone like slags off Coldplay or Michael McIntyre because they're like, oh, they'll be devastated.
A similar thing happened. Different friends of mine came to see me the other day. The headliner was Tony Law. I was very excited, and they did not enjoy Tony Law. And they were like, "Is up there doing that? What?" I was like, "Yes, it's very successful." What?
It's always people that have come to see you who are a bit like more defensive of you than they are invested in the night. And always, especially when you first start and they come to competitions, they're like, okay, this is competitive. And then they come and see you just at a normal night. And then they're like, I thought you were better than that person. And like, that person's just come off Taskmaster and Live at the Apollo. And I haven't. You don't have to, like, you can enjoy both. It's fine.
But the thing about ACMS is you can try weirder stuff that maybe usually you wouldn't do in a normal club set. I've got a little clip from what I did, and avid listeners of the podcast might recognize some of this. So away we go.
Hello, I'm Tom Baker. I know every celebrity relative from the McGann brothers to the Nolan sisters. From Michael Winner to Michael Fish. They're related to the first name, first of its kind. So, join me as we play Baker's Cousins.
A lovely bit of groan there for everyone.
That's amazing. Yeah, you're encouraged. ACMS has kind of, I think, started for acts who have been doing the same set over and over and over again. Encouraged us to go and try something that they wouldn't usually do. And it's called the Alternative Comedy Memorial Society. And after your set, no matter how good or bad it went, the MC, usually Tom Tuck, and then I think at the moment it's Sean Doherty, who's wonderful.
Both of them together on stage. They got a really fun double act dynamic.
When your set finishes, they go, "A failure!" And then the audience goes, "A noble failure!" So just like, if you go up and you just like eat shit for however long you're on stage for because you tried to do something mental and it didn't go down well, that's fine. But it also just lowers the anxiety of everybody in the room, I think, because they're like, this could be mental and garbage. And it just means that, like, when something piques your interest, you're immediately like, okay, well, what is it? And I think it creates, like, I was about to explain this in terms of, like, audio mixing, but, like, if you turn up the volume louder on your speakers, you can have stuff that's quieter and stuff that's louder. And it basically means, like, so if you've, like, you basically turned up the like mentalness, and you like the dynamic could be like, this could be quite bad, but also this could be amazing. And I think it kind of, you increase the parameters of like how much you might be just chuckling at something ridiculous. I tend to have like really fun sets when I do it, and then I go back and watch it and I'm like, a lot of this won't make it into anything else. And that's kind of the point. But it's a very fun space, and the people involved with running it are like awesome.
The act before me as well was a character act, and you might have, if you listen to this, you might know I'm a partial to character comedy myself. And they were incredible. They did a really good character of a French lifeguard. It was really good.
I'm already in.
One of my favourite lines being, "Who is Paul?"
Marvelous. Well, James, as you did so well doing fun gigs, you've got fun gigs coming up, and what you're doing is you're being a comedian. I'm going to give you 5,000 points.
Oh,
well done, which puts you in spitting distance of moi. And obviously, it's always competitive. So with all of that, it's over to you for round 4, James.
Round 4.
David, round 4 is, of course, called No, No, No. How are you?
Guess what, James? I've also been being a comedian. Proper one.
But the big boy.
Bit of proper comedy. For keen listeners of the podcast, you'll know that we did back-to-back recordings on Thursday and Friday last week. And then after we finished recording, I drove to a place called Abertillery in Wales.
I'm sure there has to be a pun in that. Abertillery. Well, tell the monks to quiet down.
Abertillery. Oh, they had too much beer at Waterloo. Like ABBA, the Swedish band.
Yes.
So
after Abbott at the Battle of Waterloo, who drowned his sorrows for the crimes he saw. Anyway, David, keep it light, keep it tight. Please don't fuck Napoleon's wife.
Okay. It was great because Chris Davis emceeing, who did a wonderful job, very affable. Josh Elton opening, who was wonderful. I went on and just had one of those lovely, like, Friday night in a rural town where they've all had a few pints and they're all really up for it. sort of gig, which
Mm.
is sort of, there's like just like there can be the kind of like comedian who's seeking the artistry, and then there's the comedian who just wants to do the work and just whatever.
Mm.
And I think I get pulled between like I want to kind of make good comedy and really like push myself forward and do what I need to do, but you still have to like pay for toast and tea and
David, you just get it when it's bread. It's far cheaper to get it when it's bread.
You've got so much wisdom. I just to say the bread and butter, ironically, of comedy is quite a lot just doing Friday and Saturday gigs to people who were like, we just had a bit of a week working, we knocked off work a few hours ago, I've had a couple of pints, let's come watch the comedy. And it was just fucking lush. I had a great time. I had a really, really fun time. And then Eva Binderman, friend of the show, came on after me and just like moid.
Yeah.
Absolutely moid.
Eva the lawnmower Binderman.
And she's on a fucking roll at the moment. She's so good. She just won the Mercury comedian Leicester Mercury award. Yes, and Ignacio Lopez headlining. So that was fucking rad. Came back from that. Had McDonald's on the way home and felt awful about it. And I had McDonald's earlier that week as well. And then I think I downloaded the app because I was like, well, I might as well just lean in and get points. And then I came home and the next day and I was like, well, I should delete this app and my diet is not serving me well. But I drove next day to Froome and we did Froome Comedy Crawl for Jared Christmas, which was like, there was 7 gigs happening. I performed a set at the first one and then hosted 2 others of them.
Why didn't you call it the 7 gigs of Christmas?
Jared!
He's in the next room. He's
just sat next to me this entire just
We've had guests lined up. We've just
he's in the altar. Yeah, it was just great. Really, really fun. One of those interesting ones where you do a gig at 5 in the afternoon when it's still daylight and there's nothing, just daylight blaring through the windows, and the first couple of acts come out and are just like really rude, and they were a bit like, oh, we haven't had dinner yet. And then the next gig I did after that was at like 6:30 in a really fancy cocktail bar. So they hadn't had dinner yet, but they had had lots of cocktails. So so by the end, they're all just a bit like quite pissed, which was hilarious. And then the last one I did was just like at normal comedy time, and it was fucking banging. So that was lovely. And then the next day, I did another gig in Cheltenham, and I was like, 5 gigs in 3 days, all paid. I am a real comedian. That's
profesh.
And then fucking knackered and woke up on Saturday. I tried to go get my prescription for my ADHD medication, and the person had told me that the brand that I'd got my prescription for wasn't distributing anywhere. So it changed, and the person on the other end of the phone went, yeah, it is distributing. Go and ask them again. And I'm like, I just want to do my laundry. I just want to do my laundry. So I went back in, got put back into the spine. Well, the rule is you have to go check all the local pharmacies before they can change it again, which is dumb. But I went and checked another pharmacy, and luckily they did have it, but only like 2/3 of the prescription. So I have to go back and get another thing. And I was just tired and confused, and I think I inadvertently changed pharmacies. And I'm here to tell you that the system works, but it's fucking insane and it's really confusing. So after my very busy couple of days with like lots of podcast recording and doing lots of gigs, I just wanted to do nothing on the Monday. And instead I had to run around like a blue-ass fly, like trying to just get ADHD medication so I could do the rest of the week. So yeah, so that's good. And then I've been really tired and I've been working hard, and I think my brain would just like the result to be great. So I did some like emceeing and new material on Tuesday and some new material last night. And with both of them, I think like my brain was just like, I need this to work. Not like, I was speaking to my girlfriend about it, being like, you know, when you just want, she's a scientist, like you just want an experiment to work rather than you're seeing how it goes. Like it's a test. That's where I'm basically just a bit tired, and I've been working really hard, and I just want like the fruits of my labor, but I've still got to get through to like the beginning of September before once Edinburgh is done, before I'm really going to be able to like sit back and like take everything in. So I need to like get better at going to bed on time and resting and all that sort of stuff. And as a result, I've been doing lots of stuff. I've been in the car a lot, holding the steering wheel very tight. People aren't indicating properly anymore, so I get more and more stressed. I'm at home working on the computer with mouse and keyboard in my hand. If I'm relaxing, I'm either on my phone or holding a games console. And as a result, my hands are fucked from holding stuff. And I yesterday went to the osteopath, and she did something called dry needling, which is where they stick a needle in your hand and it makes the muscle contract because of what it does.
Don't like that.
And she was like, it's going to be weird. But the story we'd had just beforehand, she was telling me that she's going to go swim the channel, and was telling me about it, and like how you have to get somebody in a boat to kind of go along beside you, and it's 22 miles, and once you get out of the water, you're not actually finished until you've walked onto the beach and touched a particular rock, and then it's all official. And it just sounded very difficult anyway. And then she was like, yeah, some poor woman spent like an hour swimming, and the current was so strong she didn't move, so they had to stop her from doing it, and she was only a mile away. And then she proceeded to stick a needle in my hand where I was just trying to not concentrate on the pain. So I was trying to like meditate through it, but my brain was getting distracted by either the needle or the thought of just drowning at sea. And then when you put the needle in your hand, it's supposed to contract the muscle, but the only way to get it out is if you relax your hand. And she was like, you just want to relax a bit more. And in my head, it's just like, see, oh God, I've got a needle in my... It was very, very confusing. And for the rest of the day, my hand felt weird.
I don't know why you swim it. There's a train that gets you there.
Yeah. And then as a result of all of this, I have been prescribed, I've only been using this for about 2 hours, a vertical mouse. So, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if this is a sign of getting older, if I'm just living life incorrectly, but because of just leaving a hand like that, your hand's naturally supposed to be like that. So if there's been any weird mouse movements or anything weird, you notice me being a bit confused, it's because my whole hand is used. You know when it went from YouTube video to TikTok and everyone was like, what's the fuck? That's what my hand is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then last night I stayed up too late, forgetting I have a mums and babies gig this morning, which I then went and did, and it went well, but I was tired. So I've sort of arrived at this a bit late and manic, but managed to like shove loads of caffeine and fruit in me. So I arrived like high energy, and James was ready, but then got pushed back. So then when we started, James was a bit like, the fuck's going on? And now we're in the present. So I'm fine. My hands are weird. I'm a comedian and I'm tired and I just want a pat on the back. But basically, I need to just remember that the joy is doing the work. The joy is not results. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like we've been to see our friend's baby last week, and she's like a week and a half old, the baby, and the parents were also there. And
is the baby not your friend?
I've only met her once, and the first thing the baby did when they were like, do you want to hold the baby? And I took her, and then she just proceeded to shit on me twice.
Two for
one
joy.
for sorrow. Yeah. Number 2 for joy. But whenever we see our friends, me and my girlfriend don't want kids, and whenever we leave, hang out with our friends' kids, she's not very good with babies, but I'm quite good with babies, and she'll always be like, are you sure you still don't want kids? Because you look like you... And I was like, what I want out of having kids is I want to turn up at my mum's and be like, I got you a grandkid, and then I want to take it for its first pint. I don't want to do anything else involving children. I just want the momentous parts, you know?
Yes.
And therefore I shouldn't have children. And that's kind of, I think, mentally where I'm a little bit at, because I'm a bit tired with work, where I'm just like, I need to get back into the joy of doing it rather than, I've been working really hard and I'd like a parade.
In a way, this has been your NARM. Well, David, at the end of that round, because you'll have to master having your hand in a different position now, and it will take 10,000 hours to master that, I'm going to give you 10,000 points. So, with everything to play for, it is over to you for round fucking 5. Here we go, round 5.
Round 5.
James, round 5 is called "The Singers on the Bus Are Very Loud, Very Loud, Very Loud." I'm just going to play you some audio of somebody singing on a bus, and you have to tell me what they're singing. I don't want to save the world. I'm looking for England. Look at these pronouns. Woo!
That is, of course, a recording of me on the 279 from Waltham Cross to Manor House. David,
you're really keen on doxing yourself today.
I could live anywhere along that route, David. That is a long old few miles down the Seven Sisters Road.
James, that's a fake round, of course. This actual round 5, is called Beep Beep, I'm a Car. I have recorded some cars driving past. You just have to tell me which car it is. This is for 1.47 billion points a question, as there's 1.47 billion cars in the world.
Oh, that's a horrible number.
So, James, which car is this?
Mazda. Mazda.
I'm going to have to go the obvious route and say this is a Mazda.
Can you be more specific?
A Mazda Sportage.
People at Kia are absolutely devastated there.
The people at Kia are devastated.
Oh, I never thought about that.
It's sensible and reliable, like me.
Do you know another? I'll give you one more attempt at the Mazda before you have to be specific. It's
Mazda,
for 1.4.
Mazda GT. Is that a Mazda
MX-5? Do you not know the Mazda MX-5? The Mazda MX-5 has perfect near 50-50 weight distribution ratio. Thanks, Internet. Question number 2. James, which car is this?
Ferrari.
It's a Ferrari. Fast car.
Okay.
It's a red Ferrari.
Take the word fast.
Speed.
Remove all the letters that are on the first letter.
F.
And
Ferrari,
then put a number.
F1, F10, F2, F3, F11, F12. I think I've just exited Windows. Ferrari F15, F20, F40.
Correct, James. First time. That's 1.47 billion points for you there.
Oh, hooray.
Many F40s have slightly different gearing and torque curves, according to 20 fascinating facts about the iconic Ferrari F40 article on robreport.com.
Thank you for your report, Rob. Keep going at it in that office.
James, which car is this? Question number 3.
Jimmy.
Oh no. Uh-oh. It's Jimmy Carr.
Correct, James. Jimmy Carr has a top speed of 120 miles an hour. Question number 4.
Away from the bloody tax man, I tell you that for free.
Come on now. Question number 4. Which car is this?
Wales
car. The car of Wales. Welsh car. Red car. No. Welsh car pool. Car Welsh. Welsh car. Welsh car go. It's a Welsh snail, David.
James, I'm staggeringly disappointed. That was, of course, Cardiff.
No! Oh! Would that the car would take me so fast I could travel back in time and get that correct.
I've got another use for time machines now. James, your final question, although I'm fucking devastated to know you, is question number 5. Which car is this?
Lovely jumper. Lovely jumper.
A complimentary car.
Lovely jumper. Lovely jumper.
A fashion car.
Oh.
Lovely jumper.
A fashion car. Fashionable car. Alan car? He's quite fashionable.
Car?
Car fashion. Fast fashion.
No, James.
Oh, that's...
Lovely jumper.
Use the powers of deduction you had from the previous question that you couldn't use.
Lovely jumper.
Car fashion.
A lovely jumper.
Lovely jumper.
What's a car?
Car jump.
Lovely jumper.
Jump leads. Jumping into the car for a lovely jump ride.
You're overcomplicating it.
Okay. Car jump. Car jumper. Car lovely jumper. Car jumper lovely. Car
Lovely jumper.
sweater. Car nice sweater. Car sweater. Cardigan. Cardigan.
Yay! That's another 1.47 billion.
Are you not entertained?
You should be entertained. That is, of course, Cardigan, the clothing wear that was named after the Swedish rock group famed for their rendition of Burning Down the House with Tom Jones. Here's an extract for you there.
Fire, fire, where's the fire?
In my pads from all the STIs I got.
Oh!
It's going to be burning down there. James, at the end of that round, you've got 4.41 billion, 5,275 points. It's over to you for round 6.
Round 6.
Round 6, of course, David, as is customary, is not presented by me. It is presented by someone else. So I'm just going to hop up. Very excited for our next host for this. I think you're going to really like him. I think the audience will like him as well. So I'll see you in a bit to get our next host.
Bye, James. I hope the host is good.
Here's the next host. It's me. That's right. I'm presenting this round. Whoa. This is your mind on Is This Enough?
I mean, I'm sort of gobsmacked. I'm also, like, a large swathe of me is like, fucking finally putting some effort in.
Oh,
Jesus.
come on now.
Some of us make up 3 rounds each week. You make up 2 and then hire somebody to do the rest. You do delegation because you've been watching Diary of a CEO. And you're like, well, if you get some employees to do it, then you've got more time to focus on not getting questions right. Anyway, that's my impression of Stephen Bartlett.
Well, David, round 6 is called What Are You Selling Me and How Can I Avoid It? David, the internet is defined by Oxford English Dictionary as... As if I'm looking at a dictionary, you fucking nerd. I use fucking Google, bro. Ever heard of it? Ever heard of Google? Edge? You'll have an Edge? What about Bing? What we binging? Fuck you. Go ask Jeeves, you bitch. Anyway, I go scrolling. I get adverts. I've got some extracts of them. I'm going to play them. And I want you to tell me what these are adverts of, what I've taken the extracts from. Each correct answer is worth 700,000 points, which is how many times in a 10-minute video on YouTube I'll get an ad break. So, David, any questions?
I would be the least surprised human being if it turned out that Microsoft Edge was actually made by U2 and they just put it out on computers for free
and you can't
and hoped that everybody would use it without getting annoyed. And it turns out that nobody actually wanted it.
You have to almost feel sorry for U2 for going like, this is our gift to the world, our music. Ring. there you are. And everyone went, this fucking sucks. How dare you give me a free thing?
I think the thing was that like people have limited space on their devices, and then they've just woken up one day and like they've added admin to people's life. I think if it was there and it didn't take up any space and it didn't create kind of admin, and there is also the whole people being like, and that's whatever. I still think one of the weirdest moments of my life was in the year of our Lord, I think 2021 or 2022. I was in an Uber to the train station, and a taxi driver was not only listening to said U2 album, but like singing along and knew all the words. And it really threw me.
That was his only album for a little bit.
Yeah, like they, like all those people that only got Wii Sports with their Wii. But like, there was enough people that like really like U2 that like got the free album and were like, hey, it's free, and then they like it. And I just found one driving me to. Because, like, if somebody really likes U2 and sings along to, like, anything before, I'm going to say 2005, you know, elevation backwards, basically. You're like, all right, yeah, I know this. These were publicized well. They're on the radio. Some fun songs there. Yeah, some good songs. And then anything post that, it's a bit like, oh, how does anyone even know any of this? And this guy was just singing along to, like, every single one. And it's like, I'm really happy about it. And I was like, this is weird and fascinating, but I'm glad you're having a nice day, Uber driver.
Good old Uber driver.
Other taxi services are available.
Yes.
Hit me with your questions.
So, David, yeah.
I'm just relishing the fact that you're sticking around.
Here are some adverts, and let me know what you think they're from.
So I'm in my cozies, having a cup of tea, just thinking about the session I've had, and wow, I feel amazing. I am amazing. And the fact that they didn't see that at school fills me with so much rage!
You should get every advert job ever, because it made me feel nauseous.
Yes, that horrible, quirky ukulele sung on the underlay. I made that up. 3 chords and a whistle and a bit of this.
I don't think you did, James. I think this is a legitimate advert.
This is a legitimate advert.
You've had your session.
I've had my session.
And you've worked... Oh, it's for therapy, isn't it, James?
Yeah. Is it, David? Is it from therapy? What therapy service could it be for?
Oh, we're doxing therapy services now. Is it BetterHelp?
I'm sorry, David. Let's give it another listen.
So I'm in my cozies, having a cup of tea, just thinking about the session I've had, and wow, I feel amazing. I am amazing. And the fact that they didn't see that at school fills me with so much rage!
That is, of course, for BitterHelp. BitterHelp for bitter people.
When life gives you lemons, monetize!
So, David, the next question is right here, luckily.
Looking after your finances is so important, so why would you leave that in the hands of people who aren't experts? Like you! You're not an expert! You can't be trusted with money! You fuck!
What on earth was that advertising, David?
Like, okay, Monzo, Manzo, Starling. Other banks are available.
Starlin Bank.
Yeah, is it Trotsky Banks?
Just a quick call. We noticed you were buying ice picks. Explain.
That's my answer. I have no fucking idea.
David, I'm afraid it was... I'll play it again.
Looking after your finances is so important, so why would you leave that in the hands of people who aren't experts? Like you! You're not an expert! You can't be trusted with money! You fuck!
That was, of course, for the Open University. Next question, David.
We don't fuck dogs!
What on earth could that be an advert for, David?
Fancy dogs home.
No, David, that is, of course, Friends Reunited. So you're like, they don't fuck dogs.
I hope it was for 100% of all businesses, really. But
You can't guarantee it, David. You can't say 100% of businesses won't fuck dogs. You can't. This why, to be fair, saying that is probably why I've been refused from the Arts Council. But final
James,
question.
this really reminds me of when I might have mentioned this to you before. I went to Alton Towers as a teenager, and there was a sign saying,
Goofy pushed you over again.
"It's like I've changed franchises, bitch. Get me to a manor house." No, I'm just having a weird tangent in my brain off of this tangent, which is Goofy at an Eyes Wide Shut manor house party. Anyway, so fuck, ADHD is wild. At Alton Towers, there's a sign. It used to just say, "Don't take off your shoes when you go on a ride." And then I went back 2 years ago, and the sign now says, "Don't take off your shoes or your shirt when you go on a ride." And a bit like somebody having to say, "We don't fuck dogs," you're a bit like, what happened there? Or the entire business of Innocence movie. Us movies are available. Allegedly, these views do not represent me or James or Goofy. Hit me with your last question. This has been a really weird one. Really weird.
Yeah, I won't hang around. I won't hang around for the final rounds in future if they're going to get this weird.
Oh no, not the round, the whole episode. This bit's fine. This bit's quite normal considering.
Finally, the final question for this round.
Why won't you fuck my wife here in the suburbs of West London?
What's that from?
Why won't you fuck my wife here in the suburbs of West London?
Now, is there some kind of product that rhymes with the word cuck? Is it?
It's almost parallel thinking to me making around. This is almost my exact thought pattern this morning.
Yeah. Cuck. Cucky sock?
That's east.
Why won't you fuck my wife here in the suburbs of West London?
Oh, sorry. That's the most London thing that you could say, by the way. It's when I mention anywhere in London. And you're like, That's fucking idiot. That's the wrong side of fucking London. And it's like,
I'll think you're fine, mate. That's actually zone 2. All right. So write that down for starters. All right.
West Ham. EastEnders. Queen Vic. Queen Cuck. Cuck Mitchell. Cuck. Kookaburra sitting in the old tree. I think I've melted. Help me out of this,
David,
immediately.
It is, of course, for Cuxbridge as part of the Visit Uxbridge campaign. So, David, at the end of that round, you failed to procure any...
I'm as proud of the viewers as much as I hate everything. that was a real tear of my fibre of my being where I was like, for fuck's sake, that's amazing.
Well, that's what you get.
I'm genuinely crying. What's going on?
That's what you get when I decide to pick up a ukulele in the morning. Shan't be doing that again. Moving on.
Well, James, at the end of that fantastic episode of Is This Enough, I have 17,932 points, and you have 4.41 billion 5,275 points, meaning that you get a bottle of hot sauce and I get a cold bottle of Thames water.
Which one will give us the most shits? We'll find out in a week.
Thank you for listening. Thanks for listening or watching to Is This Enough? It's a really brilliant game show. We hope you've enjoyed yourself. If you've enjoyed this and you'd like to follow us on social media, we're at Is This Enough Pod on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and YouTube. You can also find fantastic. Where the fuck have the things gone that show us where this? Oh, it's here. There we go. God, I've melted as a person. Follow at Is This Enough Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. There's full video episodes on YouTube if you haven't watched that yet. James is that James O on which ones?
On Instagram.
Get on there. I'm at David Hoare LOL on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. This has been Seamless Podcasting, and/or maybe it hasn't. Don't eat Soylent Green. It's corporate bullshit. James, have you got any closing statements? Was this enough?
David. This is enough.
I think, right. Let's just do this here now. I really like it when it's snappy and I'm like, this is very engaging. Having spoken to some people that listen to this, they quite enjoy us falling apart as human beings. Please email us at isthisenoughpod@gmail.com to let us know if you prefer it tight or mental. And by that, I mean the podcast. Or let us know via any of the socials. Let's just end it all. It's Bob Iger from me.
And we don't fuck dogs.
Round 5.